place to be for builders and leaders crafting community. Workshops, round tables, connections ignite, panels and keynotes shining so bright. From strategies to stories, from talks to cheer, we're building the future and it starts right here. Feel the beat of innovation, rise up to the call. 1 week of creation, the best of us all. Hack it, share it, dream it and thrive at London Community Week, where it all comes alive. Come together, we're building something great. London's calling, don't hesitate. From the hackathon spark to the unconference groove, it's your time to shine. Make your next move. On the silent stage, ideas take flight. Workshops ignite the stars in the night. Networking tables, connections to grow. Building communities with the people we know. The summit brings leaders, a global affair. Speakers inspiring, insights to share. Nonprofits rise with solutions so bold. Communities power, worth more than gold. Feel the rhythm, let collaboration flow. London Community Week is the show. From London to online, the world's in the groove. Building together, we've got nothing to lose. Come together, we're something great. London's calling, don't hesitate. From the hackathon spark to the unconference groove, it's your time to shine. Make your next move. Feel the energy, the pulse, the drive. Teams unite and our ideas thrive. With VIP passes and a mission so clear, join us in London, the week of the year. Prizes, laughter, and visions anew. Community builders, this moment's for you. Celebrate the leaders, the voices, the flame. Together we rise, rewriting the game. Come together, we're building something great. London's calling, don't hesitate. From the hackathon spark to the unconference groove, it's your time to shine. Make your next move. July's the time, London's the place. Communities unite, leading the race. Join the journey, the vision is clear. London Community Week, see you here.
Woo! Hello, everyone. I was just dancing behind the scenes. Whoa, go, go. That was so great, so powerful. So we have already more than 40 people ready to learn from you, Valentina. We want to just take advantage of this time and but everyone had a chance to see this beautiful song that we just launched to promote the London Community Week. It's a new initiative that is kind of englobing the whole week of the Community-Led World Summit. We have exciting things happening, activities prepared for that special week. Now it's a whole week of cool stuff for community builders. So I wanted to just quickly give a round on what we are going to do during that week. So the whole week of activities is 5 days, of course. There are 4 days where we have official events. Also, any community builder is allowed to send fringe events. And we are going to help everyone who sent fringe events, and all of them will be added to our calendar. So if you want to run any event during the Community-Led World Week or the London Community Week, you are welcome. We are going to have a special event happening on Tuesday that is a community strategy hackathon, where all attendees with access to the hackathon will be able to build small teams to build community strategy for local nonprofits. And then all this, we are going to select the top 3, and they are going to be rewarded on the last day of the summit. Then, of course, on Wednesday 9th and Thursday 10th is the Community-Led World full blast happening. And then on Friday, we are going to have Eche there. We are going to run the Unconference Plus to wrap the week on Friday 11th. So yeah, that's on my side. So you can just go and type communityled.world. You will be able to see everything. To start, we should say thank you to our friends from Bettermode. No, thanks to them, we are today with Valentina, and they are helping us to make this happen. So, a few housekeeping that we try to do always. There will be a special time for questions. So, you feel free to share all your questions through Valentina's talk in the chat. I will be keeping an eye, highlighting the ones that looks like questions, so then we can feature them on screen and you can get your answer. There will be a replay for this in case that something is something that you want to revisit. So don't get stressed out. Try to enjoy. Keep your focus on Valentina, and yeah, let's enjoy. Valentina, again, welcome.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling today? Please let us know.
I'm feeling great. I mean, like I can't figure out what day it is. It's that week before Christmas where it's like you're festive, but you've still got things to do, but like you're kind of still working. It's a very weird time, but I'm feeling great. And I feel very lucky to be part of this last Talks and Pros event series of the year. So yeah, no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah. Honestly, this event has been really successful. We learned so much from all the professionals that we have invited. So I'm really excited for this because, as you know, we run a ton of events. So, and having your help, even as part of the Community-Led World Summit team, is even more exciting. So I would say if we can bring your staff on, and let the party begin. Okay, I will be around in case you need anything. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Francisco. Hi, everybody. I can see your comments in the chat on the side here. So please let me know that you are here, and any comments and questions you have throughout, just pop them there and I will see them, and Francisco will kind of pin the questions. But yes, I am so excited to be here. I'm really excited to be talking about this topic, which is all about that all-important event calendar schedule for 2025. Now, I know that we're not quite there yet, but there's no better time to plan. And I'm sure some of you have been maybe doing planning already for 2025. And if you're going to be doing events for your community, that should be part of your plan too. So let's get to it. There we go. Would be good if my thing worked. There we go. Amazing. If you would like to follow along today on Notion, please scan this QR code. And actually, I'll just share the link for you as well. So I think Francisco can pop it up on the screen. And here it is as well. As I know that people like to learn in different ways. So you can keep this. This is going to be an active document that will be forever available. So you don't have to make notes during this session. You can if you want to. But yeah, follow along with me if you'd like. So I'm having issues with this scrolling. There we go. That's better. Who am I? I'm Valentina. I am an events manager and strategist. And I am the founder of Beyond the Event, which is an events agency specializing in turning ordinary events into unforgettable experiences, because there are so many events that take place nowadays. And if you don't stand out, then people aren't going to remember them. And that's what I do. And I help individuals and companies just create amazing events for their attendees. I'm also the founder of the PI Network, which stands for People in Events. Very similar to what we've all been building in our jobs, bringing community people together. I wanted to bring event people together, and I thought, how do I do that? And I just was like, well, I'll create a community, right? So we are a never-ending circle of industry professionals. It could be somebody who's an event planner, a musician, an entertainer, a catering provider, to connect, learn, and share. And we come together and eat pie, basically, savory pie, sweet pie, because most people like pie, and we all get a slice of it. And that's what this whole network is about, is all being able to share a slice of the pie and helping each other. I'm also a global MC and speaker, and I love speaking about my journey and how I put together events and how I can help as many people that want to get into events get their first job, or elevate the events that they're already organizing for whichever projects they're working on. I am a leopard print lover. This is one of the many collections that I have. I am addicted to pasta, and actually I'm going through a bit of withdrawal symptoms right now because I'm going to Rome on Thursday for a long weekend, and I'm trying not to eat any pasta and pizza before then because obviously it's much better there, and I'm really having withdrawal symptoms right now. So hopefully I can get my fix when I get there. And I have an almost 3-year-old son. His name is Ollie, and he is a dog, and he gets treated exactly like a human. He's the most spoiled person in the world. So that's a little bit about me. All right, let's continue. So what are you going to learn today? Hopefully, by the end of this, you're going to be able to design a strategic and well-organized 2025 event calendar using a framework that I've created that helps you prioritize goals, map out key dates, allocate resources, and navigate challenges effectively. But why does planning matter now? I would love to hear from you in the chat why you think you should start planning your event calendar now and not on the 1st of January. Any ideas, any thoughts on why it's important to do it now or during this kind of downtime, wrapping up of the year? Let me know. I can also see people have been commenting on the pies, apple pie, cherry pie, very nice. I'll give you a few seconds to share with me why you think planning your calendar now. Someone says too late in January. Maybe. I mean, I say it's never too late, but the earlier you do it, the better, the more organized. And as an organized, very organized person, I like to be ahead of the game. But really, the reason why it matters is not only does it set the foundations for success, but it gives you that clear roadmap of the year ahead. It helps you align your events with broader business or community goals, and it ensures you're proactive and reactive, saving time, energy, and resources in the long run. Because let's be honest, if a lot of you are going and taking a break over Christmas, and then you come back in January, it's full on, right? There's a lot of things that need to be done. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, events seem to be put in like the we'll do it later kind of bucket. And events really have such a big impact and really should have the right strategy that has the right amount of time dedicated to it, like all your other community projects. So sets the foundation for success. Next thing is it also helps you maximize opportunity and conflicts. So you're mapping it out now. You can identify key dates, seasonal trends, industry events, like, for example, the Community-Led World Summit, to help get the visibility you need and the attendance. The last thing you want is to be doing an event while there's another big event happening, and then people are going to that rather than yours, when you could have just kind of jigged the calendar and done it the week before or the week later. And that obviously helps with overlapping. And then the number 3 reason why I think it's important now is because a lot of budgets and resources are being allocated or planned for, and this allows you to really understand, okay, can we do this or not? Like, how big can we go? Or what can we do for our community? So planning out ahead of time, planning out the whole year, if you can, means you can go to your internal stakeholders and be like, okay, this is what we can do. Like, what can I have the green light on? And that way you're not planning things out and then later down the line finding out that you can't actually do it and you've done all that planning for nothing. So those are my 3 reasons. But I'm just looking inside the chat to see what everyone else has popped in. You need to be ready for January, drum up interest. Yes. Tends to be slower during the holidays. You have more time to add things you might forget doing last minute. Allows you to be very intentional, definitely. Amazing. Great. So If you've been to one of my presentations before, you will know that I love a framework, and I have created one for you today. If you're following along in the Notion, you will see it in there. This one is very simple. It's a 4-step framework. It's called PLAN. It's really like unique word, I thought. And it's very simple to follow, because that's what I want for everybody that comes to my presentations and learns from me, is that they're able to go away with 3 or 4 steps, 5 steps, and they're like, okay, I know what I need to do next. So we're going to plan your event calendar with the PLAN framework. So this is what it stands for. P is for prioritize. This is all about your goals. Like, why is this event happening or events happening? L is all about laying out the year, taking that full calendar and putting in when you're going to be doing certain events. Assemble is all about bringing the team together and your resources. And then navigate is all about thinking, okay, what challenges could I be faced with during the year if I'm planning out the year ahead of time, and how do I review those and keep and stay on track or rejig things to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So let's dive deeper into those. So prioritizing your goals. This is all about aligning with why you're doing the events. Are you planning to build awareness at your events? Are you looking to increase community engagement at your events? Are you trying to drive sales? Like, what is the purpose of events? And these events, each event might have a different purpose, but knowing what that purpose is in the beginning will help you plan the right event. Then the next thing is all about identifying any key themes that you want to cover throughout the year. Any milestones that maybe your community is celebrating. Maybe it's a year since you launched the community in 2025, or maybe you've reached a member milestone, and any outcomes you want to achieve from that. So, for example, if you're looking to do an event that's more around brand awareness and you're trying to drive new members to your community, maybe the outcome to that is X amount of new members. So really think about what the goals are behind your events, because we can do events for events' sake, right? But at the end of the day, they need to mean something. They need to have a purpose. And then obviously you need to then think about, okay, what are the wider community goals for 2025, which I'm sure are being drawn up now? And what are the wider business goals, and how can you connect your community efforts to those wider business goals, so that the community and the impact of the community and all the work we do as community builders is contributing to that wider goal and that wider success. Okay, I'm just going to go back into the chat and have a look. Okay, amazing. So let's move on. That is the P, prioritizing. We do a lot of prioritizing in our day-to-day community responsibilities. We do a lot of goal planning, and it's very similar with this when you're planning your event strategy. All right. So I'm having some issues with this sharing screen. It's not as slick as I would like it to be, but you can see it and you're following along on Notion as well. So it's all good. Next up is all about laying out the year. This is actually my favorite part. I love to take like the calendar, and I'm doing it like this as if I have a printed calendar, and I don't. I do it digitally, but like having every month and being like, okay, what are we going to do this year? And I think the best way to think about this is to break it down into quarters. There's 4 quarters in a year. And what are you going to do in Q1, 2, 3, and 4? So Q1, January to March, April to June, July to September, and October to December. And thinking about varying up the event types. Now, if you're not sure what kind of events your community like or would prefer to attend, just ask them. There's so many different types of formats, and having a whole year that you can plan out, you have the beauty of being able to switch between networking events, round tables, unconferences, keynote presentations like this, coffee chats, virtual co-working or in-person co-working. And that's something that's really important, is if you can, try and vary up between doing virtual and in person. Obviously, this depends on where your community is located, and if you can get together in person. I'm a big fan of in-person events, so I try to, in my communities, for example, in the Pi Network next year, we're going to be committing to do one in-person event every quarter somewhere in the world, and then between then will be virtual events, because we all know in-person events take a lot more coordination, and you want to make an impact, right? So that's why I've decided that we're going to do quarterly in-person events and then weaving in between virtual events. And the last thing is all around getting organized. As we mentioned at the beginning, that it's never too late to start planning, but the earlier you do it, and even if you do it little by little, it's not a case of, right, I'm going to get the whole of 2025 and plan it out in the next hour. No, it takes time, just like our efforts in building our engagement strategies. Everything takes time. So my first thing, if you're going to do anything first in terms of laying out your year, is have a little research around what kind of special days are going to be happening throughout the year. And I love this particular site. It's called Days of the Year. I think it's called daysoftheyear.com. I think, Francisco, if you can pop that up on the screen or share it. It's amazing what the different types of days of the year. There's a coffee day. There's a, International Teddy Bear Day. I don't know why that came to my mind, but you can have some fun with these days, and you can even create your own day if you want to. But this can help you plan out when you do events, when you know that certain themes or special days are happening throughout the year that you can jump on the bandwagon with. Today is National Maple Syrup Day. Who knew? So now, after today, you can go back and have some maple syrup on, whatever you like to have maple syrup on. So lay out the year, think in quarters, vary up your event types, get organized, and have some fun with the daysoftheyear.com. Okay, that was the L of plan. Let's move on to the A of plan. This is all about assembling your team and resources. And this is very similar to when we are creating projects for our community and we need other teams to come in and help us execute marketing, product, sales, customer success. It's the same with events. Once you've decided what your event is going to be, when it's going to be, you know what the purpose of the event is, you then need to start to plan out, okay, who's going to be in charge of what? For example, if your event is to drive sales, then you will be working very closely with your sales team and in turn, very close to your customer success team. So who is going to be in charge of doing what? Who's going to do the marketing? Who is going to look at logistics, sponsorships, maybe, engagement? Because let's be honest, we cannot do everything as community builders. And I know we try and do everything. And if you are a small team of 1 or 2, you're already doing a lot. So try. This is probably the biggest piece of advice I can give based on what I've learned over the years, is try and delegate, ask for help. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. And we all need a bit of help sometime, right? So what was I saying? Oh yeah, who's in charge of what? Then what resources do you actually need? Now, what I love to do is, I'm a big Notion fan. So I like to create a project, and in this case, you create an event. In fact, I use the calendar on Notion, and I put in my event, and then I create a project plan around that event. Okay, and I say, okay, what needs to be done? Who's going to be in charge of what? What resources do we need? You can tag different team members in those tasks and keep everybody accountable. And I've written get organized again here, because this is one of the most important parts of being organized, because you're going to be working with a lot of different people and everybody needs to be on the same page. Everybody needs to be doing their share, because an event doesn't just happen because one person organized it. It involves so many people, and that's why it needs to make sure that everything follows in sync. Okay, let's move on to the last part of the plan framework, which is the N. And this is all around navigating challenges and reviewing. Now, obviously, we're building a whole entire year's calendar before the year has even started. So there could be some challenges that come up throughout the year. For example, events can't happen on that date anymore, or another big conference has announced they're going to be doing an event the same day you wanted to, and that's going to really affect the success of your event. So what I want you to try and do here is try and anticipate what the roadblocks could be and plan for contingency. So shifting timelines, what happens if your budget gets cut, or there's suddenly a decrease in engagement in the community, and how you can use these events to keep the excitement going without showing them that all these challenges are happening in the background. So anticipate any potential roadblocks. And something that has really helped me, and I'm sure you're already doing this in your day-to-day community efforts, is scheduling regular check-ins to review progress with the team and the people that are involved on that particular event. Because depending on the event, you might be working with a different group of people, right? So it's important to keep track of how things are progressing, what needs to be done, and as events happen and you then move on to the next, make sure you do a retro. You don't have to get on a call. I feel like a lot of event teams are like, right, let's get on a call and talk about this. I really love asynchronous feedback from events. Again, I like to use Notion, and I break it down into the different buckets based on the different teams, or if you're doing an in-person and a virtual, if there's specific catering feedback, or the marketing, and let people write their own bullet pointed feedback, put in brackets who wrote it, and that way you can all review it without sitting on a call for an hour and kind of not wasting your day. But like, I feel like a lot of it can be done before that, and then maybe you can do a wrap-up call that can be more actionable, and you can just you're not sitting on a call for an hour just talking about things that could be written down asynchronously, basically. So regular check-ins are very important. Paula's saying, love this. I love this. Great. Amazing. So let's recap then on this framework, because I want it to be as easy as possible for you. So prioritize. P is all about, why are you doing these events? How do they connect to wider business goals? And what is the purpose of these events? The L is all about laying out your year, taking that calendar, wherever it's going to be, and placing in placeholders for now, unless you're really sure that you're going to be doing your event on that day and time. And then it's all about assembling the team. Who's going to be involved in these particular events? What resources do you need? And then lastly, it's all about navigating what challenges may come up. Now, they may not ever come up, but it's good to plan ahead. And if it then happens, you're like, right, we already thought this might happen. This is what we're going to do, rather than in the moment being like, oh my God, what do? We can't do it this week. It has to be next week. And we don't need that stress in our life. Let's plan ahead and then review. And I realized I've spelt review on this slide wrong, and I apologize for that. Just looking in the chat, Mohammed says, we may prepare a lesson learned log based on the event outcomes and community management challenges, which will guide other leaders on the same issues. What do you think? Amazing. All right. And then I just wanted to leave you with a little antidote that I came up, and it's a little remember thing of a well-planned calendar isn't just a schedule, it's a strategy. And if you plan, you're setting yourself up for success. You're turning your ideas into these amazing experiences that build momentum all year long, because community members, they love to plan just like we do. They want to know what's happening. They want to get excited about the Q3 summer party that's going to happen. So really take some time and plan out your events calendar that works not only for the community, but for the business, and that you are actually having fun planning, because there is a lot of things that go into event planning, and it can be very easy to just be laser focused in all the logistics and like not enjoy the journey of planning events. And we really should be having fun at all times. So if you take anything out of this presentation today, is have fun. Start now, start slow, get some ideas and start planning out the first quarter to begin with, and then start moving on from that. And that is about it from me. And I wanted to say thank you. I anticipate there's going to be a lot of questions. For some reason, every time I do a presentation, we always get a lot of questions. So I've allowed for that today, but I have put a QR code on the screen for you to connect with me on LinkedIn, because I share a lot of hopefully really great event things. I'm currently doing 24 days of unforgettable events. I'm sharing a post every day on what you can do to make your event just that little bit better. So hopefully you can follow along. But yeah, open to questions.
Nice. That was great. I'm surprised you came up every time with new frameworks to make things easier.
Oh, I love it. It makes it easier for me. And I just think they're far more manageable for everyone else.
Sounds
yeah,
great. Totally. I still remember that I use these acronyms to learn to remember like biology. All the phases of the cell.
Yeah.
I remember pro and attendees, then prophase, telophase, and all that. Wow. Yeah, so it was easy to remember. But yeah, love it. We've got a few questions.
Okay.
Let me put a few on screen. Okay, so one is from Mohammed. It says, maybe I'm going to remove the LinkedIn QR. I think that's enough time, so we can see you on the side. 1 second. There you go. He says, we might prepare a lesson learned log based on the event's outcome and community management challenges, which will guide other leaders on the same issues. What do you think?
Is that something that you do in your community, Mohammed? Are you thinking of doing it, or do you do it? I guess is my question.
Mohammed is a volunteer, a community volunteer helping in the Coursera community. So he's kind of I don't know, like probably a kind of moderator inside the Coursera community. To give you a bit of context, he's an engineer. He has a job, but he loves the community, so he's helping at Coursera as a volunteer. Yeah.
I mean, I love lesson learned. I think if it makes sense to share it with other leaders and what has worked and what hasn't worked, I think that's great. I think firstly, it's to come up with that log internally and figure out what has worked and what hasn't. And then if you feel like you can share it out in the wild, then you can, because there is never enough education on event planning, and the more we can all share with each other, the better, I think.
Perfect. Sounds great. We have one from Paola. Paola is part of the Led by Community team, and she's running so many things now. So probably you will get a few questions from her. Paola says, in your experience, how do you create a balance between keeping an event fresh and innovative while maintaining consistency in the type of events your community or audience?
Good question. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, if you are keeping your types of events consistent, is potentially having a different host every time at your event. That keeps it fresh. It's somebody new that has a different personality, a different way of hosting. That could be a way to keep it fresh. I'm just thinking of what else I've done in the past that keeps it fresh. I also think not giving out all the information about what's going to happen at the event ahead of time. Obviously, you give out the agenda, the main things, but doing like what we call surprise and delight moments, like a random giveaway or, an extra speaker, or somebody somewhat famous that can come in, or an announcement of a new community initiative that you're bringing. That makes it fresh. People aren't expecting it, and it creates a bit of excitement at an event that is normally the same event. If it's like a monthly networking event, something to bring people in, get people excited. That's what I would do.
That's a great idea. I like the idea to change hosts. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got people in your community that want to come in and help, you've got different team members that want to be more involved, it gets members to know members, gets members to know the team better. And it means that there isn't just one host all the time doing all the hosting work, because it's a lot of work hosting. So if you can delegate that up, that keeps it fresh.
Yes, that's what I'm not here every day, because people get bored of my last time was Rudy. So yeah. So we got one from Peggy Sue. It says, I have members from all over the world in our community. Do you recommend varying event days, times to reach more people, or keeping them the same to create consistency?
This is a really good question. And this is something I've actually been experimenting with the Pi Network, because we have members from over 8 different countries spanning various different time zones. And it is difficult because you want to make sure there's an opportunity for everyone. I think do a bit of a retro on the times and days that you've done events in the past and how many people you have had attend those events. And then have a look to see, okay, are those people the people that are most engaged in the community? Because again, it goes back to, what is the purpose of your event? Do you want to have lots of people attending your event? Do you want to get more people to engage in events that wouldn't normally do? So I think it's looking back first at that. But I think it's okay to experiment with different dates and times to see what works if you haven't done that already. And also ask your community, like give your community some options of when an event could be, and see what the majority answer. There's a really good tool that allows for you to put in like dates that you're planning to do an event, and people basically, I guess it's a bit like a voting tool. I can't remember the name of it now, but I will remember and I'll send it over. But I think it's asking the community and seeing what works. Yes, the same time does make it consistent, and people then know every month, okay, it's the last Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. But if you are looking to engage a global audience, it may be that you do
maybe Mentimeter, Rudy says.
It wasn't Mentimeter. It was something else. I can't remember. But yeah, I would first of all look back at your events if you have already done different dates and times and see what the results were. If you haven't, try it out for your first few events in 2025, and ask your community, when would you want to come to events? Because not everybody wants to come to events. They might engage in the community, but events are not their jam. So try it out and see what works. Trial and error, always.
Hope this is helpful for you, Peggy. Let's move on. So Rudy asked, what do you suggest for online networking, peer-to-peer interaction?
Are you referring to a virtual tool, or like how to run networking?
I think that a bit of everything. Yeah.
Doodle is Sarah just posted in the chat. It's called Doodle. That tool I was talking about a minute ago. But Ruthie, I would love to know, are you asking, are you looking for any tips? Oh, okay. Any tips for online networking? Well, firstly, it's get a tool that actually is built for online networking. I'm having a love-hate relationship right now with Zoom. I know we've talked for years about Zoom fatigue, but it just doesn't do networking well. I've recently been using a platform called Butter, which I find much better. And I love that it has this doorbell every time someone rings, like ding dong. It's like someone's coming into your house, which I love. I love having pre-prepared conversation starters for people, so that they haven't got to come up with the first question. I think that's a great way. if you can break them up into short groups, small groups, sorry, for a short amount of time, and then kind of bring everyone back in and then distribute them back out into groups so that everyone gets a chance to meet different people. I think that's a great way to do it. And I think the last one I would say is maybe it's all about getting people. I feel like a lot of the time when we do online networking, we have this community, this online community where we're advertising the event, but we don't actually bring together the people coming to online events ahead of time. So creating a group or a channel for those that have RSVP'd so they can get to know each other in a smaller group rather than the wider big community group beforehand. And then when they come into the event, they kind of know each other a little bit. So their guard may be a little bit down, and then they're more willing to get involved. It's the same as if you were to host an in-person event, you might do a meetup the night before, or you might put them into a group of who's coming to that in-person event. Why not do that for an online event as well? That would be my tips.
That's good. Very good. So let me keep going. We have a few. Sorry. Then there is Anita. Anita says, "What are your tips for facilitating good conversation with members? Prompts, speed meetings, or something else?"
All of the above. I love, as I said, I love conversation starters. I love prompts. I love questions that don't involve too much thinking on their part. So I have this game. I don't have it right now, but it's called More or Less. And it's a card game that it's like says, well, I can't even think of an example. A ladybird can travel more or less in a day than an ant.
Okay.
And then people are like, oh, I think it's more, I think it's less. So you haven't got to come up with the answer of like 15 kilometers or whatever distance a ladybird can travel. That was a bad example, but it's very simple. Is it more or less? And you can facilitate that in an online conversation, in an online networking event. In person, I usually get people to stand like if you think it's more, stand on this side. If you think it's less, stand on this side. And it gets very competitive because people at the end, like just before we close the answers, before I tell them what the answer is, people running backwards and forwards or they're changing their mind. It's a lot of fun. So yes, I would do something like that that's really simple, and you don't have to, the members don't have to think too much about an answer. But speed meetings, great, like 2 minutes with someone, or maybe a little bit longer. You can increase the time or decrease the time, depending how long the event goes on for. But yeah, I love all those ideas, and I think you should flex between them all at different events. And again, ask your members what they like. If you might do speed meetings and they're like, oh my God, this is too short, we can't do this. Ask them what they like and what they don't like. And usually they'll come up with some ideas that you'd never even thought of. So really lean on your community.
Nice. There is here from Paola. FOMO, fear of missing out, is often a driving force for the event success. What strategies do you use to create that feeling in your audience? And how do you leverage that to boost engagement?
Yeah. What do I do in a nutshell? So I mentioned it already. I don't share everything that is going to be happening at the event because I want to surprise and delight people at the event. And I want the people that attended to leave and say, you just had to be there. And the people that weren't there will then be kicking themselves because they wish they'd signed up. Something I also have started to do, which is very controversial, but I do not record my events in the way we are recording this today, in that the replay will be available. And the reason why I don't do this is because there's a lot of replays out there for various different events, and it distracts people from actually attending the event in the first place. So if you tell them we're not actually recording this, you have to be there to be part of this event, it encourages people to attend. they get that fear of like there's almost no fear if there's a replay, in my opinion. What I do though is I do create AI summaries of the most important points, but that's just a text version of the event, depending on the event, of course. If it's a networking, you wouldn't record that. But that's something that I've started to do, and it works really well. There isn't so much pressure on my side to make sure that it's being recorded and then share that replay after and all the bits and pieces that go in with that. So that's what I do for that. And something that I think has worked well in the past with a lot of other events is getting your speakers or your attendees to share that they're attending. The more buzz around your event that's being shared publicly can make those that aren't yet coming feel an increased sense of FOMO. I mean, Francisco, you do this a lot with your events. Like it's almost like if you're not at the community-led World Summit, like you are missing out. So you need to get a ticket. And that's very simple. You just ask your members. You can create a infographic for them, a visual that they can customize, give them some text that they can copy and paste, so they really don't have to do much of the heavy lifting, and basically just get all the people talking about it, so that FOMO for anyone who isn't attending is real.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think that this is a good thing. Yeah, to don't share everything and then don't record. I love that. So the next week is not, we are not recording anymore. So
no, it doesn't. Don't work based on mine. It has to work for your community. And I'll tell you the reason why we decided not to do it. For our first event, the recording failed. There was no recording. Luckily, I had my AI note taker in the event, and I was able to get an AI summary. And when I then got that summary and I then shared it with the community preferred to have that AI summary, which was a page of just bullet points, because they said we won't go and watch the replay. Like we always ask if there's a replay, but we won't watch it. So that's what I've continued to do. And I genuinely believe if you tell people there's going to be a replay, it does discourage people from actually turning up, or they will dip out early.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, circumstances played in that time, but yeah, it's something that we need to evaluate. Meg Eggers. Meg is a community manager for partnership leaders. She says, to piggyback on Paola's questions with no recording, do you also recommend when it is a global community? For example, it's 12 p.m. EST and have a pack members?
I think you have to think about, okay, how many people do we have based in these areas? Are those people interested in the content? Are they engaged in the community? Because you could be doing all this work for people that aren't actually going to watch the replays. I mean, yes, different people learn in different ways. Some people are more visual and they like to see the recordings and the videos, and some people prefer text. So I think it's something you need to speak to your community about and see how many people from each of these regions are actually joining your events. Because if you're looking to drive more attendees to your events, not having recordings could help with that. Yes, there are time differences involved in that, which goes back to the other question around what times you do it. Do you host more events at different times so that the people could come and attend? Because that's the whole point of events, right? Events are there for people to join it live. The events are not there for people to watch replays. Otherwise, what's the point of doing the event in the first place? Just record it. Yeah. And just share it. Don't do the event. Obviously, having a recording while you're doing an event, that's extra content. Again, it all depends on what the purpose of the event is and what will happen with that content after. You can record it for yourselves and create content out of it, but I don't know if you need to share the whole recording. Mm-hmm. It's a wider question. We could talk about it for hours, but it's something to think about, because the recordings could be affecting the attendance of your events. It could be. I'm not going to say it is or not, but it could be.
Yeah, I hope that helps, Meg. So I hold myself. So I'm sharing the last question from me. What do you think are the key elements that turn an event from being just another date on the calendar to an experience that attendees will remember?
I think it's all around building up the excitement and the hype to the event, which is why I think planning in advance and letting people know that an event is coming months in advance, it allows you as the organizer time to really bring up the excitement slowly, and plan without having to plan everything in a week. That's the first thing, is around the buzz. I think it's all about creating wow moments at the event. And again, these kind of wow moments, you don't have to tell people are coming beforehand. Like a big opening to the event, or a big closing, or what I like to call an Oprah moment, which we did last week or the week before, an event we were doing. We chose 10 random chairs in the space, and we put underneath, we printed off logos of the brand, and we stuck them under chairs. Nobody knew there was anything under the chairs. People just came in, sat down, whatever. And then towards the end of the event, you don't want to do this too early because the surprise is gone. Towards the end of the event, we were announcing a specific new product, and we gave away lifetime access to this product, which is huge, right? Lifetime access, like that's a lot of years. And we got everybody to stand up, everyone to look under their chair, and if they had a logo stuck under their chair, they had won a lifetime subscription.
Nice.
And they weren't expecting it. They were like, why are we standing up? Nobody knew. Like, they just came in, sat wherever they wanted to sit, and 10 lucky people, we just changed their life.
Nice.
In a matter of
That's great. Okay.
and it's very easy. You just have to print off the logo, stick them under, and it doesn't have to be a lifetime subscription. It could be something, but if they don't know it's coming, that is a real element of excitement, and what I like to call an Oprah moment, because Oprah gives out things left, right, and center.
You got this. You got that. You got
Yeah,
this.
you got it. You got that. It was only 10 people, but you could give it to everyone if you wanted. But yeah, that's another reason. Another way I think that you can turn your event into something that people will really remember. And also, I think it's really important, like once the event ends, is to keep that buzz going. I call it the afterglow, because you want people to talk about the event and what happened, what they learned, share their pictures, all that fun things after the event. And sometimes you, as the event organizer, you do need to prompt people to do that. So just because the event's ended doesn't mean that your work is done. There is a little bit more. Ask people to share things, reach out to people personally that you saw there, and really continue that excitement for weeks, months, years to come. That's how people will remember.
Yeah, I remember that. So thank you for the answer to all questions. I think that we are good with the questions. We are also very close to the time. So I wanted to just like reinforce your idea of afterglow. So for instance, when we ran the Community-Led World Summit in July this year, like the last like 2 weeks, everyone was like, oh, it was great, blah, 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 blah. No, even speakers were like saying about how cool it was, etc. And we actually collected many of those kind words to show people how valuable the whole summit was. And the same we expect for the next year. So everyone is invited to have a look and check what is next for the London Community Week next year. I think that after say thank you to our friends from Bettermode again, if you want to learn more, below this live, there are 2 buttons. If you are enterprise, have a look. If you want to explore for yourself, check the Bettermode templates. I just wanted to say everyone who attended that we have a networking session right after. We are going to thanks Valentina, say goodbye. And then I have been sharing the Butter link there. So if you want to have a chat quickly, we are going to stay around a few minutes. After say Valentina, thank you so much for coming today. We always learn so much from you. I'm taking notes and applying all your advice for what's next. So check your chairs in July when you were in the Community-Led World Summit.
As soon as I sit down.
That's great.
Check
I love
everything.
it. Yes, I love it. So again, Valentina, thank you so much for being with us today. We are looking forward to keep learning from you. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody. And I look forward to seeing your event calendars. Lost.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to put the link again one more time before say goodbye, and that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Valentina. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye bye.
you. Bye.